about micronutrient health. Many of you may or may not know about it, but after today, you're going to want to know about it, and you're going to want to get it in your system ASAP, right? So I have the beautiful Joanne Shearer Parkin on here, and I can read her bio, but I can also just tell you because I know Joanne so well. And over these 11 years of being with LifeVantage, it's just been such a joy to learn from her. Oh my goodness. She is a dietitian and biohacker extraordinaire and a master nutritionist. You know, she really is a trendsetter. That's kind of what I would say when it comes to health and wellness and nutrition. Let me just share a little bit about her. I do want to say that she has over 40 years of experience. She was working at a heart hospital, and she was the chief dietitian there, and she's the first to bring the Mediterranean diet to a heart hospital in the United States. Right. And Joanne is also a diabetes educator. She is gorgeous. She's 73 years young. She can probably outplay pickleball any one of us. She's extremely active. She and her husband, Jim, and they live in the Casa Grande area, half the year in Arizona, half the year in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And she also has held numerous, I just want to say, leadership positions in the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. And she was instrumental in the development of the standards of practice for the dietetics profession. So you are getting ready to learn from somebody amazing today. And thank you to our Vitality Living customers and Vitality Living family for being on today and to learn more about this. So, be active in the chat, type people's names in, let them learn a little bit more about why micronutrients, because LifeVantage has some incredible products, and they all are about activating different systems of the body, which are very important because we're a very complicated system. And it's not just one thing that makes everything work well, right? There's multiple things. So, Joanne, thank you for being on today. And let's first just get started right now with, a lot of people just don't even know what the difference is between, what is a micronutrient, but also, I guess, the difference between micronutrients and macronutrients. So this is a fantastic conversation. I'm so excited you're here.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Marisa, for having me on. Thank you so much. Talking about micronutrients, near and dear to my heart, that subject. So the difference between micronutrients and macronutrients. Micronutrients are essential nutrients in tiny and smaller amounts versus the macronutrients, protein, fats, and carbohydrates. Micronutrients, think of them as vitamins and minerals, basically. And so that's the difference between the micronutrients and macronutrients. And the micronutrients are essential nutrients that you need them for life. There's another category called phytonutrients or phytochemicals. These are potent, powerful compounds that you find in plants. They're discovering thousands of these phytonutrients. They're not in that same category as micronutrients, which are micronutrients essential for life. It's just like phytonutrients just give you like an elevated boost in your health and your wellness and nutrition. So I hope that kind of sets the groundwork and explains that, Marisa.
Yes, and then there's another category called phytonutrients, and are they considered micronutrients?
They're not. They're micronutrients, the phytonutrients, but they're not like essential for life. Like the vitamins and the minerals that we're going to talk about today, those are essential for life. Like if we don't get enough, vitamin K, for example, which we need for clotting, we will literally bleed to death. Okay, so that's an example of micronutrients.
Wow, and then there are people that struggle with that, actually, that have that issue.
That's right. Okay, getting enough micronutrients. Oh yes, it's a big issue. I remember, when I was first a dietitian, years ago, I was actually taught that as long as you ate your healthy diet, you didn't need to supplement or take extra micronutrients. It just would produce expensive urine. You maybe even hear that today, right? You probably even hear that today. Well, I'll tell you what, we have come so far in this science of micronutrients because pretty much all of us really could benefit by some extra micronutrients because, first of all, our soils are just not as rich in nutrition. Soils in which our food's grown, just not as rich in micronutrients as they were years ago. Just because, modern farming practices are more focused on yield, not on, enriching the soil. But that's changing. That's the good news. That's really changing with regenerative farming and organic farming. So I see that changing. There's a lot of awareness about that. But there's a lot of reasons why we don't get enough micronutrients. Poor diet, not, processed foods, medical conditions and prescription drugs. I used to have this little booklet about this thick that would sit on my desk when I was at the heart hospital. And it was about the interactions between drugs and nutrients and how much different prescription drugs would deplete nutrients. So that's another common reason why people get deficient. In fact, food surveys and surveys by our USDA found that there's some shortfall nutrients that Americans are severely lacking in. Important ones like magnesium, so important, choline, vitamins A, D, C, and E, zinc, iron for premenopausal women, older adults, B12. There's like 30% are deficient. I mean, it's just on and on. There's just so many reasons why we're just not getting enough micronutrients. Lisa?
Oh, sorry, I was muted. I did ask a question. My mouth was going, but you couldn't hear me. So what are some of the health conditions that people can experience if they are micronutrient deficient? Because micronutrient deficiency is actually a real, I don't know if it's a disease you would call it, but a disorder for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, I'm thinking of diabetes because, of course I was, diabetes educator for many years. And, I think first of all about magnesium. Most people's diabetes become depleted in magnesium, and the blood tests that they have today doesn't do a very good job at all of telling you whether or not you're deficient in magnesium. So that's one example. I used to tell all of my diabetic patients just to take extra magnesium just because it was so critically important for them as well. I'm thinking of people and older adults especially have a condition called with gastritis in their stomachs. They don't able to absorb B12. That's a real common one as well, a medical condition. I'm thinking of certain kind of autoimmune diseases, inflammatory conditions as well, that also can deplete the body of micronutrients.
Well, it sounds like most of us could benefit from a micronutrient supplement of some sort. And I know that LifeVantage, I have them right here with me, recently came out with, I was so excited when I heard that we were coming out with this micronutrient line. Yes. And there's actually another product that came out with it, but that's another topic on its own about vitamin D. And
yeah.
But we have, Joanne is an expert here in micronutrient education. She is going to talk about these two products that I think everybody in the world should be on because we need it. Even if, like Joanne was saying, even if you're eating healthy, it still doesn't guarantee right now because of the lack of quality of the soils that we have today. But yes, things are changing. It's slow. And people are so used to just like going to the store and buying things, and sometimes it's not that great of quality. So we have to really take ownership of our health. So can you talk a little bit about Rise AM and Reset PM? So why Rise AM and why Reset PM?
Okay, I was just going to bring up my PowerPoint, but evidently my system is blocking my PowerPoint, so I am just talk off the cuff real quickly. Okay. And I think I can. So why these particular nutrients? Because there's three key things to remember about these and how they're formulated. These new micronutrients were formulated by Dr. Michaels with the Linus Pauling Institute. He's one of their very top scientists, their chief micronutrient specialist, right? So he's the brains behind these micronutrient formulations. And I'll tell you what the science has come so far. gone are the days, or when, and people still do this, is just go to maybe to their pharmacy, and they will just buy, the lowest priced micronutrient product, one pill a day, which is really not designed really absolutely for good nutrition. And just there's no real technology behind how they're formulated. And so that approach really doesn't work. And I don't really think our bodies really absorb those very well at all. And I'm going to tell you why. There's some reasons why you don't absorb and utilize those. And so there's a lot of science behind these by this brilliant scientist, because he formulated these products for the right time, the right nutrients in the right amount. Let's talk about the right time. These are formulated to work with your circadian rhythms, right? You're thinking there's something that you take, a batch of nutrients you're going to take in the morning, and you're going to take these at night. Now, why is that? These are formulated to work with your circadian rhythms. So why? That's because in the Rise AM, you're going to find the B vitamins that particularly are given in the morning in this formula. That starts getting your energy production going in the morning. Then there's a little ginseng in there that's an adaptogen as well. That's going to also get you up and going in the morning. You don't want to be taking these at night, so that's when you take this formula, the Reset formula. Now, there are some nutrients that are best if they're taken in divided doses. Especially, I'm thinking about the chromium that's in these, right? Chromium. You're going to take chromium in the morning, you'll take some at night. So that's another kind of science behind these. Some of the other sciences behind these is the fact that the minerals are chelated. So what does chelation mean? That means they've taken the minerals and they've added another amino acid to them. That makes them more bioavailable and absorption, because without that chelation, minerals, your body doesn't really absorb minerals really well unless they are chelated. Another thing that Dr. Michaels has done is added some kind of complete some compounds, plant compounds, like with choline. It's phosphatidylcholine, which is more like, I think of it more like being bioidentical nutrients, right? Your body identifies them, bioavailable for your body to take them up and utilize them. So these two together have 24 micronutrients that are bioidentical, bioavailable in the right form, in the right amounts. Because I noticed that when I looked at the amounts in these, when you go get the 1 pill a day formula off the shelf, it's like 100% of the RDA. Well, that's not the case with this, because Dr. Michaels and his genius knows that some nutrients you need more to take, a little more of those, some a little less. And so that's why you'll see that they're not all just like 100% RDA, because there's some real science behind why their amounts are what they are. So we talked about you want to take them at the right time, you want to have the right amounts, and you want to have the right formulas, right? And so that is really kind of what sets these apart. And especially like this Reset formula, Marisa, it has some added calming herbs. I absolutely love this formula. This is I really actually was, I want to say, this really exceeded my expectations. I've had some sleep issues off and on ever since my husband passed away back in 2009. Before that, I used to just sleep like just great. And so I found that this really helps me to get really what I call that deep REM sleep. So I wake up feeling rested with less sleep. So it's pretty amazing.
I have to agree with you. I agree with you on that too, Joanne, because I've always been a pretty good sleeper, but I feel like I am dreaming more. It feels like it might be a deeper sleep. And I wake up early. I'm an early riser anyway, and I wake up feeling
Yes.
really good. So, and my husband's he's very good at taking this at night. I don't have to really remind him to do this. So that's kind of cool.
And the other thing to I want to remind people is that to give this some time. Like to think, okay, I took this last night and it really didn't work. Well, it's going to take your body a while to restore the micronutrients. Those calming herbs, it's kind of like cumulative over time as you take them. And so you need to give this some time. So just think, okay, I'm gonna take it for 3 to 4 weeks. I'm just gonna take them faithfully, then can think about my results then. In fact, in the consumer study that LifeVantage did with the group, it was a 90-day study. So they didn't really get feedback from the participants in the consumer study until after 90 days. And then the results were pretty amazing. And, Marisa, it's just like what we're talking about, how I think that was probably the number one thing that people reported, just like what we're reporting, was validated in that consumer study. Feeling more rested, waking up feeling more energized during the day. And so that was kind of the results of that consumer study. And I'm thinking, I'm just a super healthy eater, I'm probably not going to feel much, but I really do think that I really feel like this does give me a little extra boost and mental boost as well, because, studies are showing that, especially in older adults now. In fact, a study was just released last month that adding micronutrients can improve memory in older adults, right? So, so definitely seeing some benefit there.
And we definitely need that. Like the memory, as we get older, for sure. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead and finish that thought. I had a question.
No, not at all, Marisa. If you have a question you want to ask me, feel free to interrupt. And then, so I'm excited about this because, for LifeVantage has really actually been, since I've been with the company, we have been really specialized in the activation category, right? And activation is totally different than this in terms of product and how they work. And so we're talking about activation. We're talking about, so some of you here may know about like the Protandim family of activators, nerve 2 activation, nerve 1 activation, and a deactivation, right? These products activate specific genes that then get to like the root cause of why we age, why do we slow down, why do we get all of the issues that come with aging. So those Protandim activators have literally like changed my life in terms of my health and vitality. I love the name of this group, Vitality Living, because I really feel that that's what those activators are doing for me and helping me. But our scientists at our company are pretty brilliant. They were thinking, okay, we know that these activation pathways, they're very complex chemical pathways with a lot of steps. And these scientists knew that, they know this, they know that all of those steps of those complicated pathways, you need micronutrients, right? You need these micronutrients. And so our company said, what would happen if we did some studies, and they did cell culture studies, and what would happen with the activation and the gene expression with the Protandim activators? Could we get a bigger boost? Would these really help to give you an extra boost in your activation? And the result of the study was a resounding yes. Woo!
It's so exciting.
So they've done the cell culture studies showing that when you add these to the Protandim NRF2, that you're going to get a significant boost and increase in glutathione. They've studied adding these to the NAD activator and found that you get a significant increase over and above of sirtuins, right? And so it shows that I think really what the science and what I'm learning and what I know is that activation and supplementation are both critically important. And that the combination of the two is synergy. If you've been with us for a while, if some of you have been following, our educational events, you know about synergy and how this is like, instead of 1 + 1 = 2, it's 1 + 1 = 10,000. In other words, just the boost that you get from the combination. I think of synergy kind of like a big, fancy orchestra, that's all works together in harmony and they boost each other. So yeah, that's activation and supplementation, and how supplementation is important to get the maximum benefit from our activators. This, the micronutrients are important.
Boy, I love this, and I love the education that is out there and how we're learning about really how we can slow down the aging process and really activate these complicated systems to feel better, do more, have more vitality, right?
That's
and
right.
And it just is very exciting, because even just the synergy with the protandem synergizers, the nerve 2, this is the nerve 2, and then the nerve 1 and the NAD has its own synergy when you put the three together.
That's right. The three together give you additional gene expression and a boost in those survival genes, those anti-aging genes. By the three together, because I just started, Marisa and I started with Life Andes 12 years ago. We just had the protandem NRF2. And I was just super excited about that, because I knew that was a breakthrough in the anti-aging category without a doubt. And boy, that, the last 12 years have proven me my first assumption to be absolutely 100% correct.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I had been to a conference, the Scripps Dietary Supplement Update in California in 2016. And at that conference, I went to the session on the mitochondria, the energy factors in our cells, that we start losing our energy factories and the mitochondria as we age. And they said, there's not much out there that is really good in a supplement for mitochondrial function and they call it mitochondrial biogenesis, like revving up the mitochondria and restoring them. So I come home, and a month later, Life Antage launches protandem NRF1, and what does it do? Scientifically validated to restore the mitochondria. I was like, our company is just so far and way ahead of other companies in this area of anti-aging and helping people to really age well. So about our health span, right? So living well and healthy as we age.
Absolutely. And the quality of the products, I think, the manufacturing practices are extremely stringent and very important. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yes, exactly. Because all of our products manufactured in the United States. Here we have the, I'm trying to look at the label here, NSF. On this one, is this looking, I think it says it's ES.
Yes, it's the BSCG.
It's the BSG. For athletes. So athletes can take these. The protandem NRF2 is NSF certified. That means that it's beyond what the government mandates, because our products exceed the good manufacturing practices that are mandated by the FDA. We go beyond that. And one of those certifications is this NSF certification, which is a third-party certification, extremely stringent. Companies it takes sometimes years to get that extra certification on your products. So the other thing, too, is what's really cool about our products is the number of patents we have on our products. So exclusive to Life Antage consultants. And, where you can only get these products, from Life Antage consultants. So the science and the number of studies, all of that just validates the quality, purity, the science behind all of this.
And you know what I noticed, and I have to tell you, I haven't noticed this until this live, is I saw the lift. There's a lift.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
And if you pull it, it actually reveals a little bit more.
There's like 24 nutrients.
Oh my gosh, it shows you the other 12 nutrients. So it's like you're reading a book. Isn't that fun?
I know, and Marisa, when you start looking at the different formulas, you know, the formulations and all of the chelated minerals, and then the vitamins. Oh, yes, and that's another thing too, Marisa. If you look at the, you know, the AM formulas, you notice that the B12 and the folic acid are in the methylated form, and that's critically important for people who have a gene variant with MTHFR gene variant. People with that gene variant, they have difficulty metabolizing and utilizing B12 and folic acid unless they're in this methylated form. The methylated form is that more like bioidentical form. It's more like the plant-based form that, you know, you get in your food and your plants. And it's interesting because I just have the MTHFR gene variant testing done, and I have both of them, both gene variants. And so I didn't know that. Most people don't know, because here I am, I'm 73, and I just found out. And you can develop high homocysteine levels, which is a compound in your blood that can increase your risk of cardiovascular disease. And so a lot of people don't know they have that, but you're getting your methylated B vitamins can really help with keeping that, homocysteine under control. And so that is another thing about this. I've almost, forgot to talk about that, is how important it is that you have methylated B vitamins, which are also in Axio as well as a methylated B vitamins. So there's one thing you can look at if you're listening to this webinar or the recording, is to grab your micronutrients and look and see, is it methylcobalamin, and the folic acid is, I can't even hardly pronounce that. But anyway, look and see what the form of those vitamins are. It's pretty, can you read it? I need my little, it's a tiny,
yeah,
I can actually read better with my glasses off. But
yes, what, you want to know how much?
The folic acid, it's in a methylated form, and it has a long, it's about this long.
It says 600 milligrams.
Micrograms?
I think, microgram, whatever, and then,
Yep.
so.
In the folate, it's more like a plant-based folic acid is what it is.
Wow, and that.
Folic acid is the synthetic form. This is more like a plant form of folic
Well,
acid.
that's really beautiful. That just shows even more the quality. Is there a concern with magnesium and calcium being taken at the same time or near the same time?
No, actually, you should take them at the same time.
Okay.
No, absolutely, take them at the same time. You bet, absolutely. I think personally, I think taking magnesium at bedtime, because magnesium also helps with calming, has a calming effect. So Reset PM, how much magnesium is in there? I'm looking right now.
Well, manganese, that's not the same, is it?
No, not manganese. I think there's 100 in there. Is there 100 in there? I thought there was. Magnesium, because the bone formula, the D3 plus has has higher amounts of magnesium. And so magnesium can, for me, it has helps with
100
sleep.
milligrams or mgs.
Yeah, 100 milligrams, yes. And can help also with calming. It's helped me with my leg cramps at night. And it also helps with over 200 different bodily chemical activities in your body, cardiovascular health, bones, so many different benefits and functions of magnesium. Your brain, I've been reading about the importance of magnesium for your mental health. We don't really talk about that much, about how it's good for your brain as well, magnesium, important it is. And again, when you go to the doctor, even when they draw the blood to test your magnesium, most of the magnesium is inside of your red blood cells. And what they're testing in your blood is the magnesium outside of your blood, your red blood cells in your serum. So by the time you're diagnosed with a magnesium deficiency, you are like an end-stage deficiency. So it's just a no-brainer just to kind of take some extra, right? Just do it. Because
Go ahead.
Because I was going to say, those U.S. dietary surveys show that it's called a shortfall nutrient. I think that that Americans don't get even 1/2 of the daily recommended dose of magnesium. So we all need a little extra.
Okay, so reach out to the person that invited you to this group or is educating you about this, wherever you're seeing it on the replay. Learn about our Reset PM, our Rise AM, and then soon we'll be talking a little bit more about the importance of vitamin D3 and bone health. I had one quick question. I don't know if you can answer this or not. Strontium. Have you heard of strontium?
Yes, strontium, trace mineral. I have heard of strontium. It's not in our nutrients.
No.
So no. I really can't comment on that.
I've heard where you shouldn't take that close to calcium when you're taking your calcium, but I don't know enough about
I
it.
don't know much about strontium. No, have to talk to Dr. Michaels.
Yeah, we'll that'll
He's
be
the
another
expert.
thing. The beautiful thing is there's so many things to learn about how to optimize our health, and
Yes.
I love our products. So thank you everybody for being on. Thank you for taking the time, and get back to the person that shared this with you. Take care.